ever since I started reading Mooring Mark Owlhouse comics, I've really got into just short comic strips. So it was inevitable that I started reading Dungeons & Dragons comics. And, well, then I saw...
Would you ladies care for a dance?
Ew. No, get away from us.
But he rolled a nat 20.
I mean, I can kind of see where this is going. I mean, it's gonna end with it being like some loser's daydream or something like that, right? Because the guy's like a dork, and this is the kind of thing he would fantasize about. Right? You have to keep reading. I don't want to. Crispy number 4. You have to keep reading. You can't actually grab my... Oh, right. Sorry. Thanks. Regardless. If you don't keep reading, you'll probably be, I don't know, mildly curious the rest of your life. Just look down, okay, man? Okay. That was really cringy. Holy hell. This post got a lot of positive attention when it first came up, and yeah, that's slightly concerning. I get that.
Oh, it's supposed to be funny.
But frankly, I think the only people who'd find this funny are freaks, who I really don't want to see at night. So without further ado, why does this bad egg want me to be a cannibal so bad? This was at the beginning of my Pathfinder career, and we had a strange backstory wherein I was an aquatic half-elven ranger whom had just survived Curse of Strahd, and wound up in his homebrew setting instead of returning to Faerun. This setting was all about elven supremacy, but I was recruited into the Elven Empire's Inquisition. Wait, so you're one of the elven supremacists? There was much adventuring, much battle, even a pretty well set up betrayal courtesy of one of our party members. But one particular encounter gave me an odd feeling. We found some magical goddess witch in the woods who had her own demi-plane she was trapping people in, and she proved way too strong for us, so we decided to leave, and I decided to hold up the rear, trying to hold her off and fight to my last breath. Just before I escaped, however, she put a curse on me that made me a consuming creature. When this began manifesting, I figured I'd do anything to remove it, because eating people is bad, man. I wound up having to ask our party druid to cast reincarnation. Oh my god! Hitting the hard reset button! I'd really rather not be a cannibal anymore.
What do we do?
Yes!
First, you need to cut off my head.
Wait, what?
Oh, you took a swig of a powerful poison. Okay, not as fun as cutting a head off. Fortunately, this gambit paid off, and I reincarnated as a full elf and didn't have the cannibalism curse anymore. Now, this wouldn't be strange, but something very similar happened in another campaign, featuring industrialist goblins where I was a kobold monk working for one of the other PCs. Being a kobold who wanted so badly to be a superheroine, we encountered a fortress full of dragon cultist nasties who managed to capture us and presented another kobold player character an opportunity to learn more and meet their evil goddess. After he left, the rest of us managed to break free through some good escape artist tricks and acrobatic rolls, and we managed to defeat these guys. My character gave chase to the other kobold, only to meet with this goddess, and hoo boy, I was intent to fight her, but nope, she awoke our draconic heritage and left us to be. This wound up manifesting in us going back to town, my kobold blacking out when starting to volunteer at another NPC kobold's house, then waking up completely satiated with the bodies of the kobold family partially devoured. You sure it was a dragon goddess? Lord Baal, master of murder, what do you require of me?
We have been running low on ball spawn recently. We need more murderers out there.
Well, I mean, to be fair, my lord, I did tell you that killing that tiefling bard that one time would be just really bad for our public image. Okay.
Look, the point is I need worthy candidates. You need to find me something to uplift. Otherwise, we might run out of murderers.
I have been searching, my lord, and I have found something. Creatures with mighty bodies, a natural affinity for magic, and even sharp teeth.
Oh, they sound perfect.
Seriously, this is like the Dragonborn guy, but like lamer. Do you have a better idea?
I guess not.
The entire party starts to panic. I don't keep this in character as a secret. We set up a fight in the center of the mine for me to battle the draconic side of me. And he did try once more to have me lose to the dragon's hunger, but I did not back down so easily. I now realize, since this bad egg had a DMPC who was openly a cannibal in one of his other games, this was probably his attempt at trying to have us dip our toes into this magical realm, but we were saying no to cannibalism. Okay, 2 possible explanations. This guy played Baldur's Gate 3 and really liked the Dark Urge and really wanted to make a player character into that murderous, bloodthirsty kind of monster, and cannibalism was the play for him. Or, this guy has a thing for cannibals. I don't know which one is worse. I will say that sometimes you get a vision in your head as a dungeon master. An epic story, you can take the players down, but you can't force them down hyper-specific paths like this, especially if it's completely divorced from what their characters want. Like, if a player gives you a story about revenge or becoming a superhero, and instead you make their entire story about being a werewolf or being a cannibal, they're gonna have a lot less fun with it. Yeah, it's a cool story for you, maybe you like it, but that's not the only factor you've got to consider. It's okay to have some of these elements, but making it a character's entire thing? Bad move. Man, it's so cool seeing all these fantasy maps, but it's not my thing. I'm playing in a dystopian sci-fi setting, and I feel like my options are just more limited. The only maps I do see are overpriced. It just sucks, man. Thank God for CzePeku Sci-Fi. This video is sponsored by CzePeku Sci-Fi. As you guys are surely already aware of, CzePeku are the creators of some of the most incredible maps in the tabletop role-playing game space, but they're mostly known for their fantasy creations. However, they also have an entire Patreon dedicated exclusively to sci-fi maps, perfectly suited for any Starfinder or Cyberpunk campaigns. As you guys are probably aware, I recently got addicted to Cyberpunk stuff, and these maps have really helped with that inspiration. From gorgeous spacefaring vessels with various backgrounds to fly through, or desolate, dirty city streets for your players to fight in, CzePeku, as always, have it all. And on top of that, just like their fantasy maps, CzePeku still starts at just the $1 tier, with higher tiers if you want all of the variants. Frankly, if you're a fan of tabletop role-playing games, there is not a single reason why you shouldn't subscribe to CzePeku. It's just the perfect package. If you guys are interested, then you can head down into the description down below or hit the link in the pinned comment to check out CzePeku Sci-Fi for all of your sci-fi map needs. Thank you so much to CzePeku for sponsoring this episode of the show. As always, supporting our sponsors does support us. And without further ado, I'm going to turn back into an animated rat so we can get back to the video. I have a friend from Australia? Oh. What do you do to get sent down there? Who wanted to run a World of Darkness crossover campaign set in Brisbane. That's pronounced like Brisbane. I know how to pronounce Brisbane, okay? I know how to pronounce Brisbane because of a sea shanty sang by the Dreadnoughts called Brisbane Harbor. I love that song. And no, you will never hear me sing it. It's embarrassing. The idea being that us players would each make a group of vampires, mages, changelings, and Farah, I don't know what that is, and do different campaigns within the group. While making my characters, which I still haven't finished doing, I ran into some trouble because my World of Darkness material outside of Vampire the Masquerade is pretty disorganized. Very disorganized, in fact, and sometimes difficult to find if you don't know where to look. Making my vampire was easy enough. I got him done in an evening. It wasn't until I started working on my Farah character. Okay, I'm gonna start. What is a Farah? Race of shape changer specifically. Oh, that's cool. It's like a different way of saying lycanthrope. I mean, it makes a lot more sense because lycan means wolf, and there's a bunch of animals that you can be a lycanthrope of that aren't wolves. So I might steal this. Especially since therianthropy sounds stupid. Anyway, where was I? I started working on my Farah character, then things got dicey. I wanted to play a were-spider, so I found a PDF of a Werewolf the Apocalypse changeling breed and began looking for the rules I'm playing. A were-spider, because certain changing breeds function so differently from each other that they need specialized rules and character sheets. I built my character, then noticed the rules for Renown, a resource in Werewolf that determines your social standing, was completely missing from the Were-Spider rules despite being on the Were-Spider sheet, and the White Wolf wiki making a brief mention of it too. I checked the Werewolf 20th Anniversary rulebook, couldn't find it there. I checked the Book of the Worm, thought maybe for some reason it was there. I traveled to the Jedi archives. I searched through every record, but they appeared to have nothing that I required. I went to the lore grimoire of the last city on Earth, and it appears that even the warlocks did not have the information I sought.
Finally, I traveled down into the archives of Gondor to seek the account of the sealed door in hopes that it would contain the...
Yeah, sorry. No matter what, it seemed like this edition of Werewolf the Apocalypse was straight up missing the rules for playing a were-spider, and I'd have to play a different changeling breed. I was then proving wrong, because my friend found the rules for were-spider renowned in the were-spider breed book from the what? Breed book. Yeah, the renown for the were-spider was found in the breed book from 2 editions ago. Needless to say, I was flabbergasted. Honestly, there's kind of a charm to stuff like this. I kind of miss the days when I was playing World of Warcraft or Destiny and didn't know everything about the game. And when I looked up information, I didn't really know what to look for. So all I found were some vague forum posts and stupid guides that didn't actually help. I mean, it makes me a little bit nostalgic. Nowadays, I feel like I always know everything I need to know. And that definitely goes for tabletop role-playing games too. I mean, at one point, I didn't even realize you could make up your own gods and stuff. That being said, though, I do understand how annoying it can be to do hours and hours of research only to find out that it was pointless the whole time. I mean, maybe not from a tabletop standpoint, but I getcha. So this story is from back when I was in college. There was this guy I had a crush on, let's call him Bencher, and I fell hard for him. I've had some romantic interest growing up, but this was the first time I became so enamored with someone that I actively pursued them. The most I ever did with my first and only boyfriend was hold hands and sit on his knee. I do that with just my friends. Sorry. Outside of that, I was very inexperienced and very naive. I also had very low self-esteem and was a people pleaser, which resulted in not having boundaries for myself. All this will come into play later and explain why things happened the way they did. Anyways, I wanted Bencher to like me, so when I heard he was running a D&D
4th edition!
Well, I do have a feeling the game is not going to be the horror story this time around. I instantly jumped on the chance to play. I asked if I could join, and he said yes, so I made a cleric that followed Pelor, god of sun and summer. Bencher helped me to make my character sheet for me. He didn't teach me whatsoever, since this happened right before his game, and he just wanted it out of the way, which meant we didn't have a session 0, and we dived right into it. We dove right into... Guys, come on! While everyone at the table was a bit eccentric in their own way, I had fun playing with them. If I was confused about something, like which dice to use to make an attack, etc., they would quickly tell me, but thankfully didn't make a big fuss about it. Fast forward to some time later, I decided to confess my feelings to Bencher. Unfortunately, he told me he didn't feel the same about me. He said I reminded him too much of his ex, who just had recently broken up with him. Apparently, I was almost identical to her in every way, from my personality to my appearance, except I was... Oh. Dang, dude. So, heartbroken, I accepted his response and was going to give up on it. Good. Though it pained me to do so. However, the next time I saw Bencher, he did something that confused me greatly, setting up a path of emotional pain and trauma that lasted for months. The next session was hosted at a student apartment, where most of the players for Bencher's campaign resided, and was also at the same complex where I lived. I was still feeling a bit down about being rejected, but I still wanted to play Dungeons & Dragons. We were sitting at a low table when I suddenly felt something rub against my foot. I'm wearing socks, so I felt it immediately, and looking down and see Bencher rubbing his foot against mine, I look up at him and see that Bencher is smiling and making eye contact with me. He's knowingly playing footsie. Oh, God. Is this pleasurable? I instantly got so confused by this flirtatious behavior, especially since he had just told me he had no romantic feelings. Due to this, I confronted him later, asking why he did such a thing. His explanation, he saw that I was sad and wanted to make me feel better. I would have taken his word for it, except the same type of behavior happened to me again and again. Example, oh God, okay, well, more foreign mating ritual. Purposefully derailing conversation I had with a male classmate by taking my friend's hat off and refusing to give it back, getting huffy when I spoke to a different male friend only for Bencher to back off when he found out that he was gay, teasingly messing with my hair while I sat next to him during a D&D session. I could go on and on.
And here we have the alosexuals in their natural habitat. Their mating rituals still make little to no sense. Even to themselves, I think. I will continue to observe with curiosity. Oh. Hey, what are you doing? spotted!
But regardless, he kept doing things that seemed to imply one thing, and then, when questioned about it, he denied it, resulting in my confusion. Part of me hoped that maybe he did like me romantically and didn't want to openly admit it. Poor young, naive, foolish me. Looking back now, he seemed possessive of me in the, I like the idea of a girl liking me, even though I don't like her in that way, but I don't want any other guys to have her because I won't have a girl that likes me anymore. It doesn't make sense to me either, but when I told others about it, that's all they said it could have been based on his actions. If you thought how he treated me out of game was bad, it was worse for my poor character in-game. There was an instance where we were on an airship. An airship? And a nice guy, like incel, weird romance type of dude? Y'all are taking me back to the old days. Anyway, look, this airship was piloted by a captain. My cleric was coming up from below deck when she came across a trail of waffles, which led to where the captain was. Bencher said he was smiling at me with a strange gleam in his eyes and being oddly non-communicative, gesturing for my character to have some food. My cleric thought this was strange and proceeded to pick up a plate and sniffed it. I did a dice roll to see if anything was off about it, and Bencher said my cleric didn't detect a thing. So, foolishly, I guess, I had my character eat some.
Oh, yeah, so, I'm gonna have my character eat some of the food. Oh, you want to eat the food? Oh, yeah, probably just, like, whatever they have that's vegetarian, probably just gulping that down. Oh, okay. What's up? Well, as you eat the food, I'm gonna need you to, roll me a perception check. Okay. I rolled a 20? Not natural. Oh, yeah, you notice nothing. Total of 20, I don't notice anything? Yep, nothing at all. Food's perfectly safe. Okay, I guess I eat the food. As you eat the food, you take, 47 points of poison damage and are knocked unconscious. Also, your character is probably gonna get after this. Wait, what?
My character's then knocked out because they were drugged. She then woke up in the middle of this airship captain yeah, assaulting my poor cleric. I'm absolutely mortified, both in character and out of game, and I yell, "I demand to know his name!" Strange response, but I was horrified by this turn of events, and I'm not thinking straight. Bencher's response, "Oh, she likes it." I quickly tried to correct him, saying that wasn't true, but he said it was canon, much to my disgust. This wasn't the only time a very intimate thing in nature happened during the campaign. There was another time where we were in a gauntlet of some sort, and the players were forced to wear BDSM gear? No hate towards this thing, but this wasn't what I wanted to happen to my character. Another time we got exposed to some smoke or fog or something that made our characters either high or horny. There were other times where he screwed my characters over, though just not in an intimate way. They were still messed up, though. Another campaign Butcher was DMing, I was playing a sword mage, and when she attempted to flank the enemy by sneaking through a window, she apparently fell into a hole that was just directly below it. I got angry and said that was unfair, but Butcher just said, "Well, you didn't look before you got in." I didn't even have a chance to look at all. As a result, she had to crawl from the basement to get back up. I had to roll for that too. But she missed out on the whole fight. Another unsavory instance was I was playing a rogue Razor Claw shift. Razor Claw? Oh, it's a thing. Sounds like something from Warrior Cats fanfiction, but Anyway, due to one thing or another, my rogue couldn't get into that campaign anymore, and when I later asked what happened, Butcher said he allowed another player into that campaign to kill off my character. That player wanted revenge on my rogue, who stole coins from him while she was working at a casino that he visited, while wearing a bunny suit. That was Bencher's idea. Wait, back up. What was the revenge over again?
Why? Tell me so I might know the reason for this death. Long ago, you stole 3 gold from me. Wait, what? Absolutely disgusting. I was gonna buy a hot dog that day. I went hungry instead for like 3 hours until I went back home and got more gold. But then the hot dogs were all cold. Dude, seriously? I thought I like killed your mom or something. Oh, no. I mean, I talk to my mom all the time. We actually have a really good relationship. Dude, I can, like, pay you back. Oh, yeah, sick. Yeah, here. So are we good? Yeah! Sweet!
This theft happened in the first session, and this occurred before the party officially started traveling together. Apparently, the player was waiting to have an opportunity to confront my character while they were on their journey, since I was unable to come back. That's how Bencher handled it. There were many red flags, and I know some will have said that I should have left way earlier, but stupid, young, foolish me wanted to keep sticking around because I was in love with Bencher. In hindsight, it was more like infatuation, but I was so experienced that I didn't know the difference between that and true romantic feelings. Things finally came to a head, and I ended up cutting Bencher out of my life for a time, though the reason behind it is kind of sad. Bencher eventually got involved with another woman, and it resulted in a relationship. I became depressed, but distracted myself out of respect for it. During this time, I was in a bad spot mentally. I started developing unhealthy eating habits, such as an extreme calorie counting thing, and exercising way more than was necessary, all out of a need to have control over something in my life. As a result, I started developing anxiety around what I ate, and I was underweight. Then one day, Bencher came to campus with a new haircut, and for some reason, I had a panic attack over it. I recognized that my reaction was not normal or healthy, that something was seriously wrong with my attachment to this person. At that moment, I decided to cut him out of my life completely and not interact with him anymore. Since I did this, I was also cut off from most of my friends who played D&D. We all had Bencher as a mutual. I was lonely, I was miserable. Little mental health side note, don't be ashamed over the things you have panic attacks over. I've had attacks over some truly stupid things, and every time I say it out loud, it just feels so dumb, but I mean, that's kind of the game when it comes to anxiety. Shame like that, it doesn't help you to get better. It just makes you feel worse. A few more months passed by, and I encountered another man, whom I started developing romantic feelings for. Let's call him Darling. We were in the same student activities council together, and one thing led to another, and we became a couple due to a mutual friend. Let's call him Best Man, telling Darling that I had a crush on him. Thankfully, our relationship was actually very healthy, since we both had a desire to be friends first, before being romantically involved, which developed trust. Darling had grown up playing Dungeons & Dragons, as did Best Man, and I eventually told Darling about my previous experience with what Butcher had done to me both in-game and out. He told me that things like that shouldn't happen. It ain't normal. He was angered by what Butcher had done, but what upset him more than anything was the hurt that these actions had done to both my mental and emotional health. Darling eventually ended up in the same class as Bencher and would have just ignored the dude because it's not worth the drama, but Bencher recognized that I was dating him. He approached Darling and wanted to know why I had suddenly cut him out of my life. Much to Darling's credit, instead of being hostile, he told Bencher what had happened, which shocked Bencher. He didn't realize he was the cause of everything and wanted to make amends. Darling communicated this to me, and at first I was appalled that Darling had even spoken to the dude. Darling told me the reason why I talked to him wasn't because I think he deserves your forgiveness, it's because I want you to overcome and heal from your trauma. I'm sure this guy's great and means the best, but if someone did that to me, I'm not gonna lie, I would not be entirely happy with you. To be clear, this is not life advice. This is just a thing on me. If I want to handle my stuff, I'll handle it. Don't start it up for me. Darling pointed out that a lot of what Butcher had done was still haunting me, and as a result, Darling felt it was holding our relationship back. I begrudgingly agreed, but couldn't figure out a way to talk to Bencher again without being malicious. As fate would have it, Bencher and I ended up in the same class. I ignored him to the best of my abilities, even going so far as to act like he wasn't there if he attempted to speak to me. Then one day, when I was exiting out of the restrooms while on break from class and Bencher was there waiting for me, he was resting against the opposite wall.
This person is clearly traumatized in many ways. Doesn't want to talk to me. But I want to talk to them for some reason. I need to find a way to approach them. Neutral, non-hostile. I don't know, man. Have you ever thought of, like, maybe leaving them alone? No, that's not an option. Oh, wait! I've got it! Yeah, no.
I did my usual thing of ignoring him, but I guess I couldn't handle it anymore, so he called out, asking me to wait. I froze in my tracks, just debating on whether or not I should keep on walking despite him, but what Darling had said came back to me. So, with all of the mental and emotional strength I could muster, I spun on my heel, faced him, arms crossed, and just asked, "What? What is it?" Bencher meekly approached me and said, "Look, I don't know why I did wrong exactly, but apparently I hurt you badly. A lot of people are pissed at me about it and said I'm the reason why you stopped playing Dungeons & Dragons. For whatever I did, I didn't mean to do it, and I'm sorry. I later found out that several people in our mutual friend group were quite upset with Bencher and blamed him for my change in demeanor. Some had even expressed concern for how he was treating me and told him to knock it off since it would give me the wrong idea. Either he didn't think it was that big of a deal, or the way they expressed it did not state it as strongly as it probably should have been. After hearing Bencher say this to me, I scowled at him. Then, in my most stern voice, I said, "It doesn't matter if you meant to hurt me or not. You still did and it was wrong, but since you're aware of what happened, I accept your apology." The last part was very hard to say, but I realized I couldn't keep running away from the situation, especially since we were in that same class during that semester. I just wanted to move on from that horrible part of my life and the pain it had caused me. And so, I continued to be happy with Darling. After that, Bencher and I were on speaking terms, but I never played D&D with him ever again. Also, the friendship I had with Bencher was never the same again. After college, I didn't really interact with him much, since every time I did, I couldn't help but feel negative about it. Last thing I knew was that he is living out of state with his wife and kid. He tried reaching out to me a while back, saying that he was visiting the area, and asked if I wanted to hang out, but I left that message unread. Part of me still wonders if he truly understands how much he hurt me, and if he is truly sorry for what happened. Another part of me wonders if all the crap he did to me and my characters was, in some way, consciously or unconsciously, his way of having his revenge against his ex by vicariously doing it to me. Well, I want to end this very long story on a happy note. Darling and I have been together for over 14 years, married for 4 of that. Best man ended up being our best man at our wedding. Our relationship is still strong, happy, healthy, and has a great focus on open communication. I've been in other D&D campaigns with Darling, Best Man, and their mutual friends, which have all been amazing. An incident did occur over a homebrew campaign that almost ruined several friendships, but thankfully it didn't. There's another story for another time. I'm currently playing a halfling bard in Cursed Strahd that's been run by Best Man, who is also Best GM, and I'm having a blast. I'm glad you are. You definitely deserve it. Yeah, this guy absolutely sucks. He has that alpha male possession thing going on, and yeah, no one likes that. It's gross, it's creepy, it's nasty, especially since he's not even into you, which makes it just so much worse. I'm glad that you found a way to solve this problem for yourself. Honestly, I don't think I ever would have talked to him ever again, but hey, that's a me thing. Clearly, this worked for you, and it just goes to show that not every solution is going to work for every person, because everyone deals with their own stuff, their own trauma differently. Also, we see the darkest timeline of what could happen if you leave a D&D game or kick someone out. Obviously, I think you should do it. Don't suffer bad players unnecessarily, but yeah, sometimes they come back. I had this happen to me too, complete with the whole non-apology thing that I couldn't be bothered to accept. In any case, at the very least, it was interesting to read about all this romance stuff. Just fascinating. And that's a wrap. If you guys enjoyed, then please do leave a like. If you want to see more of our content, then you can check out our Tabletop Tavern Tips series, where we give advice both DMs and players, old and new. It's linked in the cards. And while you're there, subscribe to Crispy's Tavern to get more of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own stories or thoughts, go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment, dang it, Bender, to let me know you made it to the end of the video. Hey, by the way, if you have your own stories, you can send them directly to us. There's an email down in the description down below. Send your stories our way for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. But hey, even if you don't have any stories, in essence, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you all next time. Farewell.
And here we have the allocentric. And here we have the allocentric. And here we have the allosexual couple in their natural habitat.